Hey everyone, so welcome back to another episode of Crucial Conversations. So today we're going to be a little more serious and talk about what's been going on and the whole Black Lives Matter and how to be an effective ally and support the Black Lives Matter movement until we actually see some change.
Right.
Being women of color and being in the position that we're in, we think it's definitely something that we need to touch on and talk about. And so I want to start by asking Jeanine some questions.
Okay.
So Jeanine, from your opinion, what is your thought process about the whole Black Lives Matter movement?
I think it's necessary. As a linguist, I really dove deep into what that meaning was.
Right.
And so for a lot of people this was back in 2014 when I believe Michael Brown was killed. 2013, in 2014. And a lot of people who weren't Black didn't understand what that meant. And so flat out, I got it. I understand it, Black Lives Matter. But what I found is that a lot of people they weren't receptive. They were like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter. Does that mean that my life doesn't matter? No, we're just trying to say that period, our lives matter.
The sense of entitlement.
Right, exactly. It's why do you have to be included in everything, right? And so that's the whole underlying issue of the movement is that Black Lives Matter never says that anybody else doesn't matter. It's just dude, we matter too.
Right.
Why do we have to get gunned down for some small, infraction upon society,
Right.
barely even an infraction because some people, Jacob, for example, was walking away and was shot in the back. So it's things like that.
All the time. And those are only stories that we hear.
Only the ones that we hear.
There's so much going on.
Thank God to social media and the power of the phone. What is your perspective on it?
I agree. I think it's super necessary. My thing is, it's always been this movement because of social media. However, my fear is I just want to figure out how to be effective.
Right.
And the only way that we can, I think, cause solution is by teaching people how to be effective allies.
Right.
And so especially it's really time for people that are not of color to hold themselves accountable for taking action, whether it's, supporting Black-owned businesses. Is a way that you can be an ally in supporting that Black lives do matter because our economic status matters. That's how, unfortunately, the world works.
It does.
That's how you cause change, financial power. I think that allies need to start going in neighborhoods that doesn't look like them, and understanding the different types of people that walk the streets, that go to the local restaurants, that go to the stores that are in the neighborhoods, and even just seeing what's the disconnect between where I'm at versus where they're at.
Right.
And notice your privilege.
Of course. And I think speaking on privilege, Alexis Ohanian, love him to death, founder of Reddit, Serena Williams' husband, Reddit Bay, he gave up one of his chairman positions, and offered it to a Black person or a person of color. And I thought that was a pretty effective way to be an ally because one, it's not to say, oh, here's your handout. No, it's this man, after whatever type of education or life experience he had, was able to educate himself on the value of having that representation in higher positions of power, because that diversity of thought is literally how you get more opportunity for people who look like them, and then eventually just level the playing field.
Right.
And that's literally what the movement is about. It's equality for everybody. It's not people being better than another. It's literally leveling the playing field. And if that causes a threat to people, that's it's your job as an ally or just as a human being to help shed light on that.
Right.
And I think
that's
important.
that's a part of the crucial conversation is if you're someone in position to cause change, and when you're sitting at the table and you have a seat at the table, you have to speak up. That's being an effective ally, really speaking up for those that are less fortunate than you and don't have the opportunities that you have. You need to make it a point when you're in those meetings that are life-changing to speak up on what's necessary and be able to put your foot down and say no, this isn't going to happen because we need certain representation at this table to make it fair. And I think the more people start doing that, the more they'll see that.
I agree. and to even make that decision, because it's like the decision of like whatever is the stakeholders are, you know, deciding upon, because again, it goes back to, if you 10 white people in a room cannot make a decision about what Black people need to move forward. It doesn't make sense. If it helps if it's a productive dialogue, yes, so therefore you need to bring people to the table. And like you said, that's just the way
I want to shout someone out really quick and just give you guys a little personal story of ours. The pandemic obviously hit us hard, and we were fortunate enough, but through this fund, Little Haiti Small Business Fund, that Metro One, which is a real estate company here in Miami, spearheaded, we were able to pay 1 month of our rent. And through that, they actually were moving out of their Wynwood office and loved what we were doing, and actually moved into our space and now pay rent here and see the value in keeping us alive, because they know the importance of Black-owned businesses, and they see that there is a huge gap that divides us. And so Tony Cho, when we sat down with him, and he talked about our pop-up retail shop, where he was like, you know what, it's necessary for individuals to have that pipeline like he does. Like he held himself accountable, realizing that he doesn't see us, you know, and it's not, it's just, he does not see people that look like us in his environment. And so he sees the importance of supporting us to make sure that the next Zach the Baker is Black, the next Panther Coffee is Black. Like, that is important. We need to start seeing those things. And if it's more people like Tony Cho that come up, then I think there will be a lot of change.
I think that they're a perfect example of an effective ally. Even sitting down with us, Andres, too, the vice president, like sitting down with us and being intentional and making sure that they are contributing to the development of the community meant a lot to us, because at first, you know, you can be hesitant. I was like, okay, what's the intention? But they truly want to help the community develop, but in an intentional way that is inclusive of the Black and brown people who founded this neighborhood. So if you want to be an effective ally, to wrap it up, speak up.
Put your money where your mouth is. Support Black-owned businesses, support Black initiatives, and you have to speak up.
Right.
You have to speak up.
That's it. Speak up, speak out.
Social conversation. Make it happen.